pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Craig Scott,
Here.
Mark Serbrook,
Here.
John Vaughn,
Present.
Brad Newbecker,
Present.
and David.
Here. Any additions or corrections to the agenda, commissioners?
I'd like to make one addition under D, Sheriff's Office. Police Academy sponsorship discussion. So make that number 3 under D, please.
Any other additions or corrections?
No. Good.
Okay, item 2, public comment. This is for agenda items only. The same rules apply. Is there any public comment in the room? Any public comment on the phone? Item 3A, we have appointments. Ogemaw Township Tax Capture Agreement. Come on up, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Fine. Come. We're here to discuss our tax capture for Ogemaw Township DDA. And we had a meeting with Chairperson Jenny and Mark. And I think it went very well. There's just some items that we need to clarify, and that's under the special purpose millages. We kind of contend that if the other DDAs are capturing this millage, then maybe the Ogemaw Townships should be capturing it also. So I guess that's kind of where we're at with this, and we need some discussion about it or whatever. And it was our when we pulled away from the meeting, we kind of the general operations, there wasn't really an issue with that from the county for 100%, but we need to just get it clarified for the special purpose. And we do appreciate being able to work with the county commissioners on this. So.
We had a special meeting. We met Commissioner Serbrook, myself, and Mr. Johanning met with these guys, and they provided us this information. Do you guys all have it?
Yeah. I think we
Okay.
did.
On what the 100% capture would look like for them. I think we left there, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Serbrook, I think you and I both agreed on the 100% for the general operations. I do struggle a bit with those millages.
They excluded the special purpose.
Pardon me?
I said we came to the consensus that we would exclude from capture and then special purpose millages.
Yep, that's where I was headed. So that's, I believe, what we came out of that meeting with. But we wanted to definitely hear your guys' opinions. You're gonna get a little more information on what the other DDAs.
Well, it comes down to the 1994 amendment to the statute. Don't know for sure yet about the city DDA, which was had a year or so lapse and was restarted. We are seeking a legal opinion about that, but the West Branch Township DDA, definitely a pre-1994 DDA, so the board did not have an opportunity to opt in or opt out or negotiate an agreement or do anything. And they continue to operate under those rules, even with the continuation of their DDA for, I think it was a 25-year extension. So what brings Ogemaw Township here is a post-1994 DDA. They were subject to a motion that was passed by the board, I think it was in 2005, that granted or agreed to allow half of the general operations millage to be captured and none of the special purposes millages. So we're here at a point where the DDA, the original timeline is about to expire, opens up an opportunity for the township to come in and request changes to this capture. And so that's what happened. That's why Ogemaw doesn't capture the special purpose millages. It isn't wasn't an option back in the 80s when the West Branch Township DDA was put together. So I certainly understand the position, no question. We understand that. it comes down now to the board's position and the majority reflected. We left the meeting and there was agreement that 100% capture of the operation would be something that at least that subcommittee could support. But again, why the township is here, putting that other ask on the table for you to consider.
We had a question if the verbiage about the DDA capture was in these other millages. You said it was supposed to be, but was it for sure? Did somebody investigate that further?
I can tell you in most cases, it was not. There was one case I saw, I can't remember which village that was. But in past conversations with legal counsel, it virtually doesn't matter at that point because if the DBAs were in existence, they can capture, and that's all there was to it. Exception again, Ogemaw Township, where there's a specific motion saying no special purpose millage dollars will be captured. Very, very clear in that regard.
Which one was that for?
Ogemaw Township.
Opinions, Commissioner Vaughn.
Well, to be honest, I've had a busy week and I haven't read thoroughly through all this. I read it when I don't have it.
Tim did put together hopefully a projection from the general operations if with a 5%, 10%, 15% and 20% annual growth, which with that area definitely growing. That's on the second page there.
Yeah.
As far as what the general operations with the 100% capture would bring in for them. Commissioner Newbecker.
You're talking about $30,000 difference?
No,
No,
we're talking about.
What do you?
about
exactly?
$9,000.
9,000?
About approximately.
Talking about 16,000,
16.
yeah,
Oh,
15,
how did I come
16,000.
up with?
Are you on the first page, Commissioner Becker?
Oh, okay.
Looking at that first page, that
Yep.
that's correct. We're at 13,272 right now. That was the 2020 capture.
Yeah.
We know that. And so I went back and took a look at what those millage rates were and what everything would be on that 100% capture column. So that's correct. It's about a $30,000 difference in 2020. Obviously, it's probably a little bit more now than what that is, but those are the only firm numbers we have. Everything else is a projection.
Opinion?
No. I mean, it seems fair, but how does this affect the all these villages as far as those things operating? It's not gonna be diverted from them to Ogemaw.
Correct.
Not to the whole township, just to the DDA district.
Yeah, just to that district, yeah.
Commissioner Scott.
Well, I go along with, if the other DDAs are collecting 100%. Ogemaw Township should get a DDA, it should get 100%. The sums of money here are not much.
They're not.
I mean, this is not gonna, I don't see where this is gonna hurt any one of these departments that much. I mean, some of these departments have pretty good fund balances already. We saw those numbers in just a couple other departments. Veterans, both the special purpose and the Act 214, we cut back on the millages because their fund balance were high. MSU extension we cut back because their fund balance was way up. So, this isn't killing them. So 100%.
Commissioner Serbrook,
I stand where we stood during our meeting.
reasoning?
I don't, and I know there isn't anything we can do about it, but I don't think that any of those special purpose villages should be captured by any DDA.
I agree with you 100%
And,
on that.
and there isn't anything we can do about City of West, well, possibly City of West Branch, depending upon the legal opinion, but obviously West Branch Township, it is what it is, so.
How long before we have that legal opinion? Because there was a pause in that.
Right. The attorney that would study that was just got back from vacation on Monday. So I would project maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. I don't know what his workload is.
So do you guys want this on for a resolution? What? I need more opinion. You're saying 100% capture? Commissioner Bond?
Well, I guess my question is with these special purposes, okay, like Craig said, last year we backed off of, say, MSU extension. Are we gonna change that up back to give them their full?
I think we have to reevaluate that at that time.
That's what I say, if you're gonna turn around and pull funding from here, and we've already dropped some of their funding, I think that has to be really reevaluated.
Well, would they, in a particular year, Tim, in a particular year, we cut back MSU half. They're only gonna capture half of, they're only gonna capture what we capture.
Right, so if you reduce a
If
millage,
we reduce it by half, their a contribution that we have.
Right.
It's all percentage.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
My view on it is I don't know if constituents understand it. I feel like they're voting on this millage for these services that are provided to the public. I don't think any of those should be captured, but I'm 100% in favor of the general operations. Because no matter what the county's, road patrol, that's a service that's provided. That's where I stand on that, even though I would love to. Commissioner Becker,
That's where I'm at. I mean, I don't think it's fair that the other DDAs are getting it and they're not. But at the same time, I don't think that anybody should be getting that money other than the actual special purpose millages and keeping it in their budget. And that's what the voters voted on and approved. And I'm sure not many of them actually know that this money is going to be taken out of there.
The voters voted in state representatives and state senators that voted to allow DDAs to form. DDAs are not just a social club that just started up in the community by a bunch of community people. It's a state, it is a law. It's a law on the books that how you set up a DDA and how it is managed and everything else. So this is all within the statutes of Michigan. So that's why I say the voters have put these legislators in. They made the DDAs possible.
Well, I agree.
These areas,
DDA part, that DDAs are very important to our community.
the way that DDAs are funded are off of captures.
okay, go ahead, Commissioner
Every
Becker.
representative that you elect to office doesn't always do what you intended for them to do. So I'm not really following you on that one.
Well, and if I can jump in for a minute, I agree with what Craig's saying, but also in this case, the legislature gave the county the option to be able to pick and choose the dollar amounts that this particular DDA can capture when they amended the law. So it is back in our hands. It's not,
That's why we're sitting here
exactly.
talking. Okay, so
Could I interject
please,
something else?
yes,
So from what I'm hearing, mostly negative on this special purposes, would there be a possibility that we could negotiate a 50% on special purposes?
And can I interject?
please.
Okay, so I've only been on the DDA for 12 of the 20 years that it's been around. And I came in not knowing what it was about. But our meetings are public, just like the township meetings are public, just like your meetings are public. If the constituents want more say so, they should be coming to the meetings to find out what's going on. When we did this booklet about the joint development plan with the 3 DDAs, we had to have public meetings and we advertised it and people showed up. And when they came in, they were very excited to learn what we were doing and how we were doing it. The whole township didn't show up and it was probably just a small group that showed up, but they were happy with what we were doing. And as a small DDA, we struggled and have only had our half a mile pathway put in for three years now. It took us that long to save enough money to do half a mile. So now we have enough funds to connect to the city. And we were hoping that we could bring in enough money so that we could continue with that and do other things for the community. It isn't like we're taking the money and spending it at Dunkin' Donuts. We definitely want to work for the community.
I agree with you. I served on the Westbridge Township DDA, so I know how important they are and the good work that they're doing. But I just don't like seeing these millages being used for the different purpose than they were voted on. But is there any other way that we could, is there anything else we could do besides taking it out of those millages?
Give them a 200% capture on the general operations end. If you don't mind tapping out general operations, give them more than 100%.
Just asking.
Well, I'm just saying,
Would allow that.
huh?
I don't think your statute would allow that.
Oh, couldn't do that? Okay. All right. You had a question or do something more?
Okay, Commissioner Serbrook, they came back with a counter offer. Your opinion?
I'm still opposed to any capture special purpose millages.
Commissioner Scott?
Oh, well, Supervisor's asking for a compromise, and if you're not gonna go the 100, then I'd be in favor of the 50.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Put up for resolution. I'd still like to do some more reading myself. And sorry, I just had a week from hell, so I just didn't get all the reading done that I could have done.
I mean, I guess what reading, there's not a whole lot here. There's
Well,
two
I'd like to
sheets.
look, I'd like the
Pretty-
figures over. I understand both sides.
Pretty simple. Okay,
And we're still waiting on a legal opinion, right?
we are. How quick do you guys want an answer?
City is- It
How quick do you need an answer?
wouldn't affect. it.
Well, I think we've already turned in for this year, so
Okay.
for some, it's like, I guess we're in no big hurry now.
Because maybe when we get the legal opinion, on this other DDA, maybe that'll play a part in this decision. It's possible. And if he's saying we're gonna have it in 2 weeks, how about we just table?
I'm not guaranteeing that, but it's an estimate.
I heard it. Okay. So are you guys okay with that? Let's see what our legal opinion is on the other DDA.
Put it on next committee of the whole.
Yep. I mean, you guys don't have to necessarily come back. That's up to you. You negotiated, which we appreciate.
I think I'd like to come back.
Just in
Okay.
case there's questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, anything else? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3B, Rich Castle, Consumers Energy, Northeast Michigan Community Affairs Manager. Hi, Mr. Shelton.
Fine, Miss Jerry.
Yeah, so I'm the Community Affairs Manager at Consumers Energy based out of Tawas. Cover 8 counties here in Northeast Michigan. Ogemaw is included in those 8. So just wanted to stop in this evening. So I haven't met with you guys since before COVID, and so I'm just making my rounds, and I know there might have been some changes since the last time I've been here. So just want to introduce myself, and you probably have gotten my emails in the past or whatnot about different things that are ongoing. But tonight I wanted to discuss a little bit about our clean energy plan and our look into wanting to develop solar. So clean energy plan just got approved by the Public Service Commission. That plan, we're hoping to eliminate the use of coal by 2025. Starting to invest more into the renewables, and that includes solar. And so the handout that I've given you tonight is a little bit of a summary of what we're looking to accomplish. Looking to implement about 8,000 megawatts of solar. And so this is statewide. Obviously it's not all going to happen in one location, but the chance that Ogemaw County could be a place for that to happen could possibly be a location. I mean, I know there's been past interest in the county, and so just to give you a little bit more information about what our process is. So Consumers Energy could possibly develop our own project, say in the county. But there are third-party companies that could have interest in the county, and so they may have interest in Consumers Energy buying the project or buying the power from that project. And so in order for us to move forward with that, we have a request for proposal process. And so what happens is that third party, one time a year, has the ability to submit a project into that RFP process. That RFP process allows us to look at all of the projects that get submitted into that. So that would be statewide. And that allows us to make that process somewhat competitive. And what that means is it comes down to price. We want to make the purchase of solar projects as competitive as possible. Meaning, if Jenny's project's $100 a megawatt hour, Craig's is a 75, and Mark's is 50, and we're looking at 3 projects. Well, we want to look for the cheapest projects possible that we can find. And so obviously we would want to go with their 2 projects. And so what it does is it forces the third-party developers to make sure that their projects are fairly competitive price-wise. The other part of that is Consumers Energy's own projects. They also are going to be going into that same RFP process. So our projects are going to have to compete with the third-party projects, meaning we're not going to just go out and build our projects for the sake of it being our project. We have to be able to compete price-wise with the third-party projects. And that's how we're going to be able to look to keep the cost as low as possible as we can. So just wanted to give you guys a little more information about what our process is. Not aware of anything particular, but since there has been prior history here, it wouldn't be surprising if there wouldn't be something from a developer or whatever, but just wanted to give you guys that information. Just to know that, we are willing to work with them, but there is a process that's in place. They have to follow through on that process. And, of course, they got to compete with all of the other, projects that are there statewide. So not sure if there's any questions about this or if anything else that I can help answer, but I did want to be here tonight to give you an overview of where we stood. Also, in general, just trying to provide you the information about some of the operations things that we have going on here in the county. And so if you do have any questions about those, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
They're coming.
Somewhere, sometime, I don't know.
Cut all the trees down next to my house. You can go ahead and put them right on my backyard.
Okay,
There's no more shade left.
duly noted.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rich. Any questions for him?
Good. What do you think? You think we'll see something in Ogemaw County? From
Well,
consumers?
so I think
The
the
planning commission has passed 2 different sites in the last couple of years.
So, I've talked to Ryan about it, kind of giving him the same explanation. I think, what the ideal property is we're looking for flat, open land that is close to the transmission facilities. And so, there are locations I feel in the county that could meet those, but, that being said, that's up to the developer. That's up to the landowners, of course. And so, we have to work through all of those different parameters. From a Consumers Energy standpoint, the larger the facility, the better, because we're wanting to get as much power out of those facilities as possible. And the larger the facility, the cheaper it is. The smaller, maybe that's more ideal for, a specific landowner, but from our perspective, the bigger, the better. And, again, being closer to the transmission facilities makes that a lot cheaper as well, because if you have to put in a transmission line from the project to the transmission line, that's a significant cost. So that's all goes into play. And that's where the developers, those third-party developers also, they got to make sure that their projects can get their power onto the grid and whatnot. So that's a lot of the driver too. So, but again, it comes down to whatever the sentiment is in the county or in the township, what people want to participate, what people don't want to participate. So there's variables out there.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Have a good evening. Thank you. If you do need anything from me, I'm sure you have my email. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
So who was the big winner in I saw your email today that said you know, these,
Yep.
we're all participating in what, somebody from Grayling was a finalist.
Yeah,
But-
so we have what we call our 3-pillar awards. There's the People, Planet, and Prosperity Awards. Those awards are 250, well, they're $500,000 awards. Typically, we're providing 250,000 to each winner. And so for this one, it was the Prosperity Award. I know that the city of Oxford was one of the winners, and then I can't remember off the top of my head the other winner, but we did have an organization in the city of Grayling. It's the Asable Artisan Village. They made a submittal and they were a finalist. I think they were top 10 finalists. But we did have, I don't know, 10,
I saw the-
12
I saw-
other
I saw-
applicants
right, I
from
saw
our
the list,
area.
so,
And so
yeah.
each year we've seen an increase in the applications, and you know, what it comes down to is there's opportunities for communities and organizations to get funding for certain projects that they may have in the queue. And so, you know, I regularly advise those communities to take advantage of these opportunities. You don't know unless you try.
Exactly.
I know that, you know, West Branch has, you know, had a couple of applications. You know, so it's just a matter of just trying to get people to put in for them. And, you know, if your idea is something that they queue in on, you know, you might end up getting the funding to complete your project. So it's worth the shot. And that's what I try to advocate for. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
all right,
Thank you.
great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Mr. Bowers, you're up. One, we have the CERT trailer,
Yes,
we have reinforcement.
I do.
Hi.
Hi,
Your
it's
name?
actually the
Dean
reason.
Coleman. So
Hey.
back about 2013, we acquired a deuce and a half from the county. And we got that for $1. I think Craig Scott was probably the only person that was on the board at the time when we got that deuce and a half. The old military truck we got, our radio club got for $1. So anyways,
Aries.
Aries Racing
Aries,
got it
I don't remember. Okay.
13 years, it was in 2013.
No, I wasn't here.
Wasn't here.
Oh, no.
Well, I know Mark was probably around, so, and the sheriff was around. So we had that truck, we were gonna do something with it. And it just didn't fit our needs, so we ended up selling it. And I know some scuttlebutt was, we were gonna make money off it, and, you know, we never made no money off it. Matter of fact, we threw some money in a kitty, and we've got this trailer, 20-foot enclosed trailer. We were gonna make it for like a CERT trailer or emergency communications. Well, it sat around for quite a while, and the roof started leaking. One of the ham radio guys, Dave Burnell, got that all sealed up, got the floor all coated. And so we had some money set aside and we put the money in there to get it done. We're gonna donate it back to the county for a CERT trailer, so emergency management can have the trailer back and they can use it and utilize it how they gotta utilize it.
And I spoke to you guys a month or so ago about having earmarked about $24,000 for community emergency response team stuff. And so we're going to build a regional trailer, response trailer with it. I intend to develop the front end of the trailer with all 3 types of communications that emergency and disaster responders use. So we'll have a base station in it, and we'll also have recharging capabilities right there at the trailer. It'll be powered. And then down one side of the back of it, I'll have community emergency response team equipment and supplies. And on the other side of it, I will have American Red Cross equipment and supplies. So it'll be a full functional disaster type trailer that will be available for Ogemaw County and then surrounding areas.
So what do you need from us?
We just wanted you guys to
Information?
know,
Thank you.
we just want you to know
Okay.
that we have several groups out here working together
Oh, nice.
in order to increase the.
Mike, how do you move the
I
trailer?
was gonna say, get something forward.
How do you move the trailer?
How do I move the trailer?
Yeah.
I hook it up to my F-150 and go.
We need some, we probably need to, well, if you're on vacation, then we're gonna have to scurry around to find some.
Well,
We probably need a pickup
I'll-
truck or something like that, don't we, Sheriff? It's heavy duty too, not this
Yeah.
enforcer,
Well,
hot rod thing.
we'll get there.
And white,
Okay.
and white too, because
Guys,
that's
it's
the
kind of-
trailers.
It's baby steps and we'll get there. We'll continue to
Thank you very
grow.
much.
Oh, yeah, we
And
Is this a time frame? Like, what do you, what, how?
I would really like to start the construction on it over the course of the winter, but it's going to be as those grant monies become available for me to go through the grant process. That way,
Consumers guy.
yes, that way, you know, it doesn't come out of the local taxpayer's pocket.
Is this something that other counties have, other emergency managers?
No,
Hey, Coney.
not in
In the
our
surrounding?
region, not close to us.
Okay,
So-
No, this is equipment that gets used in emergency management and community emergency response teams. Yes, I believe the closest trailer would probably be in Midland County.
okay. So I mean, it is something that does occur and it is
Oh,
common.
definitely.
Okay, so that's-
Yeah, no, this is pretty standardized, but it's more developed
Mhm.
programs.
Well, if we had a Gaylord happen to us,
Yes,
Which is-
Gaylord has one.
well, there you go.
Yes.
They were
So
right
that's.
on top of it.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, we could only be so lucky as to have it together as well as John does.
Well, again,
But he's been doing it for a long, long time up there.
we could also go and help our neighboring counties.
Yes, we did offer, up there in Gaylord, we did offer to help. And, we were told, thank you, we will call you if we need more. But, the immediate response around there was just fantastic. And they have some really well-developed programs and groups up there in Gaylord.
Good.
So I use what he does as a model.
Commissioner Serbrook, did you have something?
I think what Commissioner David was trying to get at is this trailer is not just gonna be Ogemaw County specific. It's gonna be utilized if Aranac, Iasco.
For emergency purposes.
Correct.
Correct. And
Where would it be kept? Do you know that yet or not?
I don't know for sure. I mean, eventually I would love to see a building where we can put these trailers and stuff in, so they're protected from the weather. But currently I'm looking at talking to McLaren. At the back of their ER, they have a secured fence in, that I have 24/7 access to. So,
Great.
you know, and they already house, a lot of our COVID supplies and backstock, in their warehouse. So.
Good. Thank you very
So what
much.
I'm saying is that the truck didn't get, it come back to the county. You know what I'm saying, give it back, so.
Yep.
And we appreciate us using your tower out there too. Our amateur radio group uses that too out there, so. We out there and it's helpful for us. There's not very many of us around, so.
Thank you very much. Is that it on that?
I would like to ask for a resolution if I can,
Oh, yeah. Do you need one for that?
not for that.
Oh. The next one's AED. You're on there. Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Sorry,
AED purchase?
no,
Oh,
no, this is the tier 2 manager for the hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant.
Okay.
The grant agreement that we just signed.
okay.
I'm going to purchase the tier 2 manager. I thought we were going to spend about $500 on it. But because we're a population less than 25,000, I am going to get the program for $150. And I know I don't have to ask for that, but through my grant process, I have to have an approval from the Board of Commissioners before I spend it as grant money. It will be 100% reimbursed because our local emergency planning committee, our quarterly meetings will cover our contribution in kind. So
Do you have any questions, Tim?
Just send me the details.
I will. I have a quote and I'm waiting for an invoice for it.
Okay. Anything on that, commissioners?
No, it sounds good.
The AED purchase, your item 2.
Oh, sorry. Gosh, I forgot I was doing that. So I have $6,500 left in the fiscal year 2021 grant for Homeland Security.
2021?
2020, sorry, the hazard, I do a lot of grants. I apologize.
No, you're okay.
And I was a little unprepared, even though I know I had it on. But I have $6,500 left on it. And I would like to purchase 2 AEDs for the Rose City Fire Department. And then 1 AED for Cummins Township, the township itself.
Where would that,
And I'm sorry,
where will that go?
to the township hall, correct?
Okay,
So it'll be in the township hall. The 2 for the Rose City Fire Department will be on fire trucks
Mhm.
and will be mobile for all 4 township communities. The price of those AEDs will be more than the grant, and the township and the fire department will pay the extra on that. And that will bring our grant dollars to zero, because the 2021 grant, we are not going to receive any local grant money from the fiscal year Homeland Security grant for the
So
2021.
you need a resolution for that also.
Yes, sir.
you're gonna need more accurate information.
And
for that.
yes, I will get you the fine details on that also. I do apologize for not being prepared.
So 3 ADs cost more than $6,500? What do they cost a piece? I have no idea.
Anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, depending on the model.
I mean, they're worth it. Save a life.
They do. They save lots of lives.
Yep, I just wanted to, I had no idea what they cost.
I'm sorry?
I said, they save one life, they're worth the weight in gold.
Absolutely. I completely agree. In fact, I'm going to teach a CPR AED class as soon as I leave here up in Rose City tonight.
Perfect, thank you. So you want that on for a resolution this upcoming meeting? You're just gonna get more accurate information to Kim?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I will get you that information tomorrow. And then it'll be, if you guys need me at the next meeting, I can also be there at the board meeting.
Do you guys have any
If there's
questions?
Further questions?
Mr. Bowers?
No, you're good. Nope.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Item 3D,
You all have a wonderful night.
You
I'll
too.
see you Monday.
Sheriff Gilbert.
No.
We've got item 1, medical insurance continuation.
I'll start. Unfortunately, we have to come to you with this conversation, but as you're well aware, we have an employee at the corrections department, civilian cook position. She's been off on extended family medical leave. She's coming up to the conclusion of her 12 weeks. She's exhausted all of her leave time, plus 2 rounds of donated leave time from employees that have donated time. And currently, she is unpaid. She is still an employee and still receiving health care benefits. The question that we have to come to you on her behalf today is, per the contract, with the situation as it stands, her health insurance benefits will be running out or would be severed here coming the 1st of August. So on her behalf, we're coming to you to consider continuing her healthcare benefits, given her circumstances. We did, using he and she, I apologize, but the employee does not have the financial ability to be able to contribute to the amount of the health insurance that it costs per month. Per the clerk's office, the amount for the single family, $622.94 a month would be the dollar value that we'd be discussing. So it's a difficult question to pose to you, but that's kind of where we stand. It would have to be an agreement between the board and the union to continue benefits for this employee moving forward. We do not have an expected return date. The employee is recovering and currently faces some physical limitations due to the recovery that we can't put a hard date on what she would return.
Her intention is hard to return.
Yes.
Kim, is there an issue with this?
It's budgeted money already. We already assumed that position will be filled. We assume a certain amount for health insurance. So it does not impact the budget. But there's always the potential that something like this could be precedent setting, but this is such a narrow case. I don't think that's going to present an issue for us. Now, let's hope it doesn't anyway. So I think if the board were agreeable, this is certainly would be a positive move for the employee. The only real open question is how long this would continue. So I think in the resolution, we would put a date on there or a number of months or whatever, and then potentially have to come back to renew that. It's just a situation where there's no way to know how long this would go.
I know this individual personally. And if I will say if she could be working, she would be. So I'm not gonna voice my opinion. I because I know this individual personally, but I definitely favor this, but Commissioner Serbrook.
She's not getting any pay whatsoever at this point in time.
She has been unpaid for the last 2 to 3 pay periods.
I would think if that's the case, you qualify for Medicaid. Which probably is a better insurance.
In the past, haven't we done, donated PTO as well?
She's been through 2 rounds and donated to them already.
There's extenuating circumstances.
Yes.
So what are we doing to replace this person right now? What's happening?
The board approved 2 corrections cooks. They're working that.
So no
Same
over-
time.
No overtime then.
No overtime. They're working regular shifts. At the same time, her position was maintained because I'm sorry, the employee's position was maintained because she was on medically. With the intention.
I'm not opposed to this. I'm just saying that, if she's not collecting a wage, that she probably on the monetary side would be Medicaid eligible
Problem is there would be a lapse in that,
in the coverage.
more than likely. And if there is, the outcome could be bad.
Well, could we, again, like Tim said, and I'm just throwing this out there as a thought. If we said we'll fund it for 2 months, 3 months and revisit, that would give her the opportunity to check and possibly if she did qualify for Medicaid to apply for it, and then we could move on from there.
I think that's fair. Then they could always come back with more information that this individual could gather.
I mean, I certainly don't want to see her lose any health insurance coverage. Like I said, I'm not opposed to this, but I'm just looking at other possible options that she might have and this board might have to, granted, $622 is not gonna make or break.
Well, I don't know.
Again, I'm kind of going where Tim went with, we may be setting a precedent here that may come back to bite the board in the future.
For age,
Yeah, they can't voice that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
not
no,
really
I'm
accurate.
saying, no, I'm going,
Is this something that
social,
we could just
that was Social
do in
Security,
advance? and they could make-
retirement.
It's the last insurance you want. Medicare you're talking about?
Well, no, I don't think she's that old, but
Yeah, no, I think we should,
saying if she was gonna turn 62 or 65 in 3 months, whatever, and start receiving a check where she could pay for it, then allow the 3 months or 4 months or whatever. I'm in the same boat. Don't want to cut her out of her insurance. I wouldn't want to cut anybody out of their insurance.
we can't do that.
Is this something that could be reimbursed?
Oh,
When she comes back to work, you're talking?
Yeah.
If she's not getting a paycheck, no, she's probably gonna be strapped for cash for a long time. I wouldn't,
Well, and
I'm just saying, I wouldn't want
small amounts.
why don't we do this, guys? This is
At
really,
least we wouldn't be worried about
what,
much as setting the precedent.
why don't we do 3 months? By then, more information will probably be known. She can get some information. Hopefully she can have a plan in place too.
Yeah,
You guys okay with that?
yeah, 3 other unions and I can see. Precedent setting things with unions are.
Yeah.
Are tough. I mean, they'll come right back, somebody else will come right back and say, well, you did it for them.
Do you see that being an issue with this, Tim?
I think we can word this so it's narrowly defined.
Yeah.
Enough to where if we do get caught up and it's somebody in an equally dire situation that needs the insurance to continue, and you'd say, well, yes, of course we'll do it.
And I don't want to get into any information, but this individual cannot go without health coverage and this is a dire need. And I say that very seriously.
Did another individual guarantee the amount of her premium?
I understand your question.
As he was saying, is it something they could pay back? But if another individual guaranteed that amount of money for the next 3 months until we get to there, I mean, if that's something of precedent is what everybody's worried about.
I think if we put in the verbiage of this situation, there's not too many people that's gonna be in this exact situation ever again. So I think if that wording is in there,
Disagree with that, I think.
I don't think it-
Be in this situation.
isn't that what you just said?
Anytime, any person could be in this.
No, this
That, but I'll
isn't.
also add therefore, this is not precedent setting in the resolution itself. Protect us as much as we can. But yeah, I think this can be very narrowly crafted so that if somebody else did fall into this same situation, I expect you to probably do the same
It's gonna
thing.
be very rare.
And
Hopefully,
then, and this person or the next person or whatever doesn't come back. Then you're spending money on nothing. On them staying home. You gave them money to stay home.
We're not giving them money, we're just paying their health.
Well, carrying their health
For
insurance.
3
we're
months,
paying out
which I don't
money.
think is unreasonable until she gets the opportunity. Said, I'm sure that she's not working this, she'll qualify for assistance.
I would think so.
Then
But I don't want to see her in lapse in insurance and this is coming
a long period of time
quick.
to pay it back. I mean, just small amounts.
Well, Brian, if
So it doesn't
you're
hurt her
saying
when she
somebody's
does it, but-
gonna sign off, like co-sign for it? Or would they pay for insurance?
What I'm saying is if you give her the 3 months and want to guarantee it paid back, if she can, I will.
Oh,
It's 3 months. I'm not worried about 3 months. She's put a lot of time in this county and she's part of our team over there.
you work for 2 counties.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. If that's something that had to be done.
There is it legal for us to do it a charity? Fundraising?
Well, wouldn't it be the county to do that? And those things, you see them all the time.
We'd have to find a nonprofit that would. I'm sure we could explore that with nonprofits.
Is there any way that we can have a employee relation account for these types of situations?
We'd have to explore that. Of
I
course, that
know
would.
I know corporations do it.
Too, yeah.
we allow people to buy our insurance, but, somebody, we just talked about that last meeting, how somebody, like I did before I went on Medicare, I bought my own insurance, 100% I paid.
So would you need a resolution if we do an extension here for 3 months? In the meantime, between now and next meeting, can you reach out to the unions to get some type of letter of understanding or to make sure there's not going to be any problems?
We only need this with the one union,
Okay,
but yeah, absolutely.
are you guys okay with that?
Mhm.
And you'll have a conversation with her to hopefully develop a plan.
We'll work on that.
Are you guys okay with that?
Absolutely.
Transport van discussion.
Well, we just wanted to bring you up to date on where we're at with a situation with a new van. Originally, we're gonna come and talk about potentially some money, but that'll be down the road after we do the original stuff, so. Deputy Vetter was able through the military surplus program, was able to locate and secure for us a 2007 Chevy van. Through that federal government program with only 19,450 miles on it. By the time he got it back to
Right
us,
color too.
and it's not black.
What do you gotta sneak up on the prisoners for? They're already prisoners.
They're already there. So he went and secured that for us, a little over
A black stripe would be all
Black stripe would be okay.
What's the cost of it?
No cost
Oh.
as far as for us to get it. So we said,
It's here now.
right,
Okay.
it's here. What's nice about it is all the equipment that's in that old van that has
Yeah,
450,000. That is all gonna transfer right over into that one. And I sent out for estimates because originally part of the plan is to upgrade the rate. But when we got the estimates on the transferring of the interior workings, it came in a lot lower than we had expected. So we're gonna get it striped up. We're gonna put all the equipment from the old van in the new van. We'll get the old van sold. And then we'll do our research and come back as far as the radio to upgrade the radio when that time comes. But that'll give another van in our fleet that'll help keep the mileage off the bigger vans. A little less gas mileage. I think we should still shoot for an SUV through that USDA grant. If that does come through, whenever. But right now, this is a nice addition to the fleet that's gonna help corrections with their transports. And they said originally we were gonna talk about the radio cost, but we were able to get the equipment so we can start to get it into service, and then we'll bring back a radio cost and talk about that. So
Did you need anything from us for that?
do not need anything at this point. We originally were going to, but that's just an informational.
Okay, we got,
Then we don't.
Or do we have to put the old one up for auction?
Yeah,
A
we'll
little bit.
put that up once we get the striping off it, get all the equipment swapped over. We've got an old boat in that van. They're gonna be next up for the auction. So Mary's already contacted me as far as getting that on the website, and we'll get that done. Hopefully in the next few weeks, once we get the equipment and stripes and stuff.
Do we have a title for the existing van?
Sure. Well, let's say I have experience on how to get it if we don't.
is that it on that?
That's it on it.
Hey, we got the, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
had more?
No,
No,
the addition.
the police academy
Yes.
discussion.
We're gonna go back to that program. We wanted to bring it to you. I've been working with Michigan Works, trying to see if they will fund the training program. Unfortunately, we have not been able to get a solid answer for them all the way up until this point. And our window for Delta is August 16th for application, and August 22nd is the start of the school. In the budget development, I did put $20,000 in to the 259 millage budget to cover costs. I don't know where we're gonna land with Michigan Works. The initial assessments, they didn't qualify for the first program, but they are currently testing for another pot of money. The one employee that we've identified tested on Monday, the second employee tested today, Thursday. So hoping that maybe next week we'll start to get some answers from Michigan Works that I can bring to you. What I just wanted to get it out for you to start thinking about. I'd like to send you some information over the course of the weeks, if you have questions on monetary issues, or we have a couple legal issues from what we learned from the first go round. We want to reach out to the attorney and see what their opinions are. And once we get those opinions, we'll disseminate them type of thing, just from what we learned the first time. But we'd like to sponsor two, and that would get us a lot closer to what we're projecting. We'd like to have 14 total people. And that's part of the budget too, that you'll see as you start to go through your processes. That would put 11 under the millage on the road. Then you'd have the 2 school resource officers and then the 1 secondary road. So you'd have 14 total deputies that would be providing services. That would give us a full midnight shift. It would give us a solid day shift. We could cover vacations, injuries that we've been experiencing here. Unfortunately, the last few months. So we're just I'm giving you the heads up. I'd like to get you as much information I can over the course of the next couple of weeks, and we'd like to try to get them into the August school. Because that would put them, just as we did last time, that would put them available to start working midnights in February, March, and then getting out on the road by themselves come April-ish.
The current number is 12? No.
No, the current number is, it's 9 in the millage. Is it 9 in the millage, 1 in the school and 1 in the secondary road? That's the current allocation from this current.
We passed the second school, didn't we?
But they haven't started.
One, they haven't started, and 2, we haven't gone back. I mean, you approved the second school officer. So there'd be another, once they start, another opening. What we're saying is what we're proposing in our budget and for staffing levels for the sheriff's office, the optimum numbers would be 11 in the millage. The 2 school resource officers in the secondary road.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at.
What's the cutoff date for application?
16.
16, and it starts
22nd.
August 22nd. Okay, thank you.
Now, I seen today there was a posting, I've seen it somewhere, I don't know where.
Facebook. I saw it on
I
Facebook.
don't know if I even looked, three officers. The last I thought there was only 1 opening.
There was under the current allocation. The 3 posting is going along with the budget development to replace the school officer in the millage. So I posted it for 3 openings. Hopefully that will agree upon that is the ideal number. But we will hire what's agreed upon once the decision's made on staffing levels.
And I asked a couple times and maybe I wasn't specific enough. I wanted a better printout reading of the cost of what it cost the county to send those last 2 individuals. I wanted a better breakdown. It was very, very general.
The spreadsheet I sent?
Yes, I want a better understanding. I want to know what it costs to, I want to, and you can send it back to me and I can put in there, I didn't respond. I can better respond as far as,
Oh, wait, this one.
yeah, send it back to me and I'll respond with some questions. It was pretty general, I felt.
I did the best I could.
It's
with the
okay.
Excel
I'll give you more
program.
specific. So is Kirtland still now, does Delta have 2 openings? Is Kirtland still not an option or because Dr. Quinn was just here?
Right, and Kirtland is always an option. We could explore. Unfortunately, with Kirtland, I think we'd most certainly be looking at a January school. If we
Okay.
were to use Kirtland, because the deadlines for Kirtland would be August 8th or August 5th, with the school starting August 5th, 8th. So 5th and 8th. We're not going to be able to get through Michigan Works and all that thing and be able to get into Kirtland, so.
There was a bunch of money available through the state for this type of you and I seen some information on it.
Unfortunately, we applied for that grant and we were not awarded the
For training, retention,
retention or recruitment. We were not one of the recipients named.
so there's a lot of money.
There was, and there's a list. I can forward the list of those who got it, but we were not included in the list of recipient counties and municipalities, unfortunately.
Are these 2 individuals out of the jail?
Correct.
So then we're gonna have to backfill those again?
We're gonna have to find bodies. I don't know how many we have in reserve for transport that are ready to come to full time.
Right now, none.
Come to full time, however.
How's it been hiring over there? How many positions do you guys have open?
We have 1 vacant position right now.
Okay, so that's not terrible. How's your overtime?
They're gonna have 3 if we send 2 to the
Right.
academy.
Right,
We have 3, but when we do, I go back, work the floor. Secretary works the floor. We do what we have to until we fill it. We keep the overtime down. I don't believe the overtime has been very much lately. I don't see very much overtime. I mean, we are having some overtime, obviously. People calling sick, but we're not using a lot of overtime.
if you want to forward me that and then I just want to be able to, as I'm bringing this to meetings here the first of the month, I want to, when they have questions, it'd be nice if I had a spreadsheet in front of me of what it cost.
Okay.
Constituents have questions.
No, I get it. I can work with Tim to further clarify my spreadsheet that I started. Maybe I'll learn some more on.
I want to know what it costs you to train them to get them on the road. I mean, to get them road ready.
I'll send it to you
For
again.
Excel training?
Yeah, I seen his computer skills are not very good.
Come on.
Bad.
Getting better.
It was bad.
You're gonna send me to Excel training?
Treasurer's office sends their people to Excel training.
I want to go
It's not,
You wanna go?
type with all my fingers though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not good.
I don't type with all my fingers. I hunt back too.
with my back.
Hunt back, yeah, but I gotta tell you that over the years, I've gotten a lot better with Excel.
Yeah.
It's a really good program for that kind of thing.
Now,
I use that.
Once you figure out how to put it.
how long have these postings
Yeah.
been posted? Are these, that I just seen today, is that a new, is that a new posting? Are we still advertising out there on the is it MCO's website?
That advertisement is the M-Coles advertisement. I did check M-Coles today. And it had expired, so I renewed it. That's why it generated, well, I might as well put it on Facebook, and it's generated quite a lot of activity. And that's why I kind of hesitated first go around to get into I don't like Facebook a whole lot, but it gets it out there, and it definitely generated a lot of activity. So there was 137 shares, I think, in the first 3 or 4 hours on that. But that's the exact ad that's on M-Coles also.
Okay,
And that we I developed, we're using for, I just changed the number from the original was 4. I changed the number to 3. And that's again, with that budget discussion, I have the 14 total, if that's what's decided for the allocation.
so you're still looking external, which I think we should be.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay. Who are you talking to at Michigan Works?
What's her name?
Gene?
Jean Holbrook?
Jean? Okay,
Yeah, Jean is.
Yeah.
okay.
She's the contact that we go back and forth, and she gets reports from me and.
Because their budget is ginormous.
I was hoping that this conversation was gonna be a little different, but.
I'll ask.
Yeah, until Michigan Works figures out whether the 2 employees qualify for a program, we won't know.
Okay,
So,
questions, guys? Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Did you really want to talk to me?
Yeah, but I know.
Okay. For a administrator recommended fiscal year 2023 budget.
As you see a copy of the proposed general fund budget on the iPads. I have completed all but the last step of converting the special funds, so you will see those tomorrow. What I'll do, because there's such a large file, I'll put a special folder into the iPad so you can see the 2023 budget proposal. And don't really intend to dive into it very deeply tonight. Take a little bit of time to review it. I will put together some of my notes in advance of the next COW meeting so you can see some of the ideas that are put forward in that budget. And then we've got roughly 9 weeks to work this through, which we're still on time, on schedule, so we should be able to accomplish that. Now, we did talk about at one point of having a special committee of the whole where you only dealt with budget, and we brought departments in, et cetera. If you still want to do that, this would be the time to start thinking about what dates you want to do it on. But that's it for tonight. It's just a general, notice that it's out there, and then look for the special funds tomorrow.
Questions, guys?
No.
Do you guys feel like it's necessary to have a special? I think it is. To have a meeting just,
For budget discussion?
Yep.
I agree. I think it's a good idea.
what month, when would you like that? Like, is there a time period?
It'd be very convenient for me if it were done some point in August.
Okay. Mary, you want to shoot that out to all of us? Ideas?
Yes.
I think specific to budget, it definitely deserves that attention and discussion. Is that it on that?
Yes.
B 911 millage, come on up. Hi,
How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Thanks.
You've seen that, but.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like to explain
What would you like me to explain?
This is the current
this?
budget.
This is actually 2021, 2022. Our budget runs from October 1st to September 30th.
Okay,
So in this budget, the top of it is the wages, everything that's got to do with employees. Then our medical. And then all of our MERS, social security attorneys, office supplies. Our audits, our accountant, 911 training. On the bottom of the second, or not the bottom, the middle of the second page, it shows where our local surcharges are, what we collect in revenues. And then it shows expenses. And this budget was made for this year, and it shows our bank balance back in September when we approved this budget.
Jesse, when you get the fund balance, I presume that's just the fiscal year projected fund balance of. Or,
400. Is that what you're looking at? The 402,000?
no, I'm looking at the 5,283.30.
Correct. We added, well, there was some amendments made to this budget recently. Overtime went up.
So the balance of the checking account as of September the 8th of 2001 of $402,000. You've expanded money out of that. So are you projecting that you're only gonna have $5,283 left at the end of this year, or?
No, that's
Or
what,
that's just a surplus, so that would go be in addition to your prior fund balance?
yes and no.
Okay.
We did- Yes, that is the surplus of the year. Would that be going, we've had some. Yes, I'm not gonna answer
I'm
yes.
just gonna say,
Yes,
if we look at this figure, that's your best
correct, right?
guess at this
Yes.
point in time, that you're gonna have $5,283.30.
Correct. If there is no other
If
malfunction, nothing happened, then yes,
everything stays flat, the way it is right now.
yes.
So then that will be in addition to what fund balance you had last year?
Correct. That will go into that fund balance
Okay.
that you see on there. If we have no other major malfunctions.
If that's truly the case, then how as of 9/8/2021, when you go till 9/30, do you have $402,407.66?
That's when we approved our budget for this year. That's when our budget meeting was. We have to have it in to the state of Michigan prior to September. Correct. Pardon me. Yeah, prior to October 1st. So we have to have that.
Like this. So how are the expenses running so far? You're about 80% of the year going right now.
Correct.
I mean. when
Some
I
of
look
them, they're, well,
Are you over budget on anything?
yes. Right now, our MERS is over budgeted. And I believe our,
You've got upcoming equipment expenses that you're gonna be experiencing in the next fiscal year though, correct?
the end of this year and well, right, August 16th, our new CAD system gets put in, which is our answering system.
Right.
And then in October, the end of September, beginning of October, our new desk will be installed. So yes.
So you're gonna have ongoing expenses as equipment,
Correct.
life cycles run out, so.
Well, right now, we're almost, we almost have everything replaced brand new. So then it will be, you know, every couple years, we're gonna have to upgrade
Sure.
things and, I mean, computer equipment.
Some things have a 2-year life cycle, some have
Correct.
5, some have
So-
10-year life cycle.
So at this time, at the end of this fiscal year, most of our stuff shall be updated. But again, we have $1 million sitting in that server room over there. So if something goes in that server room, which 2 months ago, our air conditioning unit went. So that was a big, huge expense. You can't have it over 80 degrees in there or the equipment malfunctions. So I had to have the door open. Poor MSU dealt with that for almost 2 months with that door open. in order to get that, until I could get that rectified.
Now, what did you say? Maybe I misunderstood you when you were at the last meeting. Something about the equipment and partnering with, you said, brought up IASCO, Aranac, Ogemaw, like who's heading that and what exactly is going on?
So it's the three of us counties, myself, the director for IASCO and the director for Aranac. All three of us. All three of us needed the new computer aided the CAD system.
Mhm.
So I had a bunch of companies come in and show us different things with their equipment. And we sat down with all of them and said, is there anything that we could do to make it more reasonable? We're smaller counties. We're not these big counties that can afford $1 million equipment. So Motorola sat down with us and said, if we went with one server and we all connected to it, it would be a lot cheaper. So that is what we decided to do in order to update our equipment. Just like, I don't know how long ago it was, Roscommon, Ogemaw, and the Alpena node all went on one server for their phones. So that saved them money at that time as well. So you pretty much try to do things together so that they give you a better
Clustering.
discount. Yeah,
Clustering.
better discount.
So we have the same system as Ogemaw, IASCO, and Aranac have the same system.
We will as of August 16th, yes.
I mean, I appreciate this. I think I wanted to see more and this is somewhat what I wanted to see, but I also wanted to see, these are just estimates. I kind of wanted to see.
No, this is our actual budget.
Right, but a budget is what you think you're gonna spend for the year. I kind of wanted to see what we have spent, like how close these numbers are.
This was just amended last week.
So this is right on. Okay,
This is on.
okay, maybe I didn't hear that part.
Yes.
Yeah, part of the problem too, because I sat in the meeting, I'm on the board. Looking at the millage proposal, whatnot, some of the questions that some of the board had was, okay.
They changed that today. They changed that. They emailed me.
Oh, did they?
Mhm.
It settled?
Yes.
Hmm. I had no idea.
Yes.
I had no idea. Because the millage is asking for 0.7500
Right.
and whatnot. But they were saying, the board last time, us, met there a couple weeks ago, and it was commented, well, next year, if they don't need the money, depending on what they have, sitting there in their funds, then maybe we can cut that way down like we did MSU or whatever. But again, like she said, she's got $1 million worth of equipment. You cut their funding out and they don't have that sitting there and things go to hell in a handbasket, county's screwed because then they don't have the money to replace this equipment.
But we have to see those, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah,
We have to see those numbers. I don't think us as commissioners, I guess I'm gonna speak for myself. I wasn't aware that we could adjust these specific millages that were their own entity. We didn't even discuss these when we discussed MSU and road patrol. We didn't discuss 911. We didn't discuss EMS. Why not? We should have seen where their fund balance were. So if I didn't realize we had control over that.
yeah.
And I had a discussion with Tim afterwards, and we do. So I think, again, if we look at one, we need to look at all. I think, I'm not saying cut it, but we need to know where they stand. If we're
Right.
making a budgetary decision, we need to know where they're at.
But that's what the board was worried about. I don't know what they saw today. But that's what the board was worried about because you or myself, I have a little bit more idea, but don't know what equipment costs in there. And like I say, if it goes down and, the question was, okay, a piece of equipment's $500,000 and we cut their fund balance because we don't give them the millage that they've asked for, and they've got 300,000. Are we gonna kick in another $100,000 or $200,000 to keep it operating?
Well, we also have to, again, people are hurting and that's not gonna get
Well, I
better
understand
anytime
that.
soon. So they have right to know where their fund balance
That's
stands
like everybody
and
else.
where their budget's at. So this information I feel we needed to make a informed decision. Commissioner Newbecker.
I agree with both of you. I think we need, good information to base our decisions on. But at the same time, we definitely need to get that information before we start cutting budgets.
Mhm.
This program is pretty darn important to the entire county. And if we don't have it, or if something happens to that building or to that equipment, it's gonna be a huge, huge purchase to get it back up and running again. So I don't mind having a little bit extra money in this account, just in case.
Commissioner Serbrook.
I think that we ought to take and adapt the language for the millage as it is, and if we see fit next year or the year after to take and make an adjustment, we can do it at that time, but I wouldn't want to take and cut anything off of the millage language, again, without having the information, and I am 100% agreement with Brad. I wouldn't consider cutting 911's millage unless they had $1 million plus in a fund balance. Because one catastrophic failure of that equipment over there could easily cost $1 million. I mean, God forbid, if there was a fire in that server room, guess what? There's your $1 million gone in a heartbeat. And I don't care how fast a fire response you get, that equipment's gonna be garbage if a fire breaks out in there.
Of course, you got insurance for that kind of things too, but if a generator goes down or their equipment goes down, I mean, there's definitely a huge possibility for loss. So,
Commissioner Scott.
Well, it's nice we got a budget, but this, looking at this current budget doesn't tell me where you're setting. It just tells me your proposed budget for this year. As far as the Chicken Little scare tactics, I could care less. We talked about Gaylord a little while ago. Gaylord happened right now, and that tornado came right through and wiped out every car that Sheriff Gilbert's got there. That we're talking a lot more than $1 million. Okay, it can happen. It can happen. Don't scare the hell out of me with what ifs, The millage is 0.75. You pass it at 0.75. We take a look at fund balances just like we did the other stuff. If the fund balance, like Mark said, is way up there, that's what we looked at. We looked at that with veterans. They were way up there. They were almost $1 million. And the veterans, the administrator there agreed with us and we cut back. MSU didn't provide services during COVID, so their costs were way down. I don't have a problem passing this to put it on the millage.
We're gonna look at it
But,
on a yearly
you know,
basis, so we can
Yeah,
adjust accordingly,
yeah,
up or down,
that's all.
down or up. down.
That's all.
Can't go
But
up.
as far as the budget goes, I would have liked this. I would have liked to see the current costs. So I'd like to see, I mean, like 911. Well, the variable is equipment. Your wages, well, you said that overtime's up. So then that increases every other line also. Social Security, workman's comp, things like that. But like 911 equipment, do you propose this? Are you gonna spend 200,000 this year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you gonna spend over 200,000?
It's a possibility, but we're hoping not.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, our CAD equipment is 100 and.
It's okay. Yeah, I don't care how much it
Yeah.
costs. Yeah, I just wanna know, do you think you're gonna go over?
We're hoping we're not going
Okay,
to.
good.
That-
Then you're hearing to a budget.
That's what I want to see was the original budget and then where you're at this time. So there's a good comparison. This to me is just a rough estimate of what you're projecting you're going to spend for the year. Like, there's no comparison. As you said, you've made adjustments. What was it before you made the adjustments? I can't see.
I can bring that to you.
But I mean, that's
can
what I'm
email it.
looking for,
Okay.
see where we projected, where we're at. Yes, we're gonna spend it, or we're gonna go over budget, we're under budget, like. I agree, this doesn't tell me specifically a whole lot.
This is what I was asked to bring to you and I brought it.
It's fine.
But I can bring you, I can email you. if you-
I don't-
Yeah,
But I think before we make a decision moving forward, we definitely need all the information.
okay, so you want the year beginning
I don't need that now. These guys are in favor of putting on for resolution on Thursday, but I think before this millage is looked at again, as far as maintaining, decreasing, when we're having that entire discussion, more information, in my opinion, will be needed.
Okay,
I think, asset management, and having yearly histories of our budget is very important in planning out our liabilities that could happen in the future and trends that happen. It's only gonna help us tighten that budget up to make it more accurate so that you finish the year within your means.
And to help us make good decisions.
Yep.
Thank you. That'll be on for resolution this.
Well, here's,
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's not for Jesse, but just we haven't made a decision on the Ogemaw Township DDA. The language that's in here doesn't talk about the Ogemaw Township DDA capture.
it does on the new one that they gave me last time.
It has to.
The one that's on the iPad just says City of West Branch and the Township of West Branch. Doesn't say Ogemaw Township.
That's because we haven't made a decision on that one.
Yeah,
Well, and that's my point. We have not made a decision. So if we put on a resolution to adopt this language, we may be putting the cart before the horse because we haven't made a decision on what we're doing with Ogemaw Township DDA.
Looking at the language itself, though, it's permissive. If approved and levied, the portion of the millage may also be dispersed in accordance with state law too. We could include Ogemaw Township on that list, but that does not obligate you to agree to allow them to capture it.
I just threw it out there just for clarification and transparency to say, that we hadn't made a decision on Ogemaw Township. So if we decide to give them, let's say 50%, we'd be remiss if that language wasn't included in the language on the ballot. Thank you.
I agree, Lark.
That's all I.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Item 3C, snow removal bid. There's only one in there.
There's only one,
Really?
so that makes it, I think, a little bit easier.
Okay.
But
And that's the current,
it is, it's our current vendor.
Yeah.
and we've been happy with them. So, but
These prices are running roughly 33% higher than last year. I would suggest that's probably related to fuel prices. In particular, when you look at things like the removal of snow piles where it's actually the biggest increase. That's exactly it. You've got a lot of equipment out there burning diesel, which was at $6 a gallon. I think that's what's driving this change.
Any questions? How long was that out there for bids?
At least 30 days. It might be longer.
And there was no complaints? Everything's going well there?
The general consensus that I've heard has been very positive.
Okay. Questions,
There are
comments?
Make a resolution.
Yep.
Accept the
Okay.
bid.
3D harassment in the workplace policy.
Okay, I'll start with an apology. You've got the old version of the policy on this meeting, but if you go back to the July 14th meeting, you'll see the language that was proposed to be added. There was one sentence in that section E1 about the investigations. The state of the investigation team shall include members of the Board of Commissioners, Personnel and Policy Committee. When this was presented to department heads, a suggestion was made and brought to you today to consider changing that they just stating the investigation team shall include, you want to designate 3 persons that would include department head peers in that group. They felt that would be more palatable. I said it would bring that to you. I'm more concerned about getting this approved. So I think from where I sit, either way works fine, but that's a suggestion that the department heads asked that you consider.
Which is, say that again?
The current language we inserted says the investigation team shall include members of the Board of Commissioners, Personnel and Policy Committee. Department heads asked that be changed to read perhaps a 3-person committee composed of, and the language that came out was a group of the department head peers. But they're looking at particularly if one investigation has to get launched right away, that they pull other department heads onto that team to do that investigation. I should re-say that. The investigation itself would likely be conducted by myself or a department head, whatever department head might be involved. But the team itself, we want to bring the results to this team who decides if we have an issue and what further steps we need to take in terms of what we've learned.
Thoughts? Commissioner Scott?
I don't see the problem with the commissioners being involved. A lot of this could the problems we've had in the past cost us money. And when it costs money, the commissioners have to know about it. And firsthand. This secondhand, well, I'm not saying that the administrator is secondhand, but I'm just saying that I don't know why this is a problem, except that it's this division between department and commissioner again. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't.
Commissioner Serbrook?
I think there ought to be at least one commissioner involved at a minimum. I'm not saying it's gotta be, both members of the policy personnel, but I think at least one member of this board should be involved in that process so that we're fully aware of what's going on,
I agree with
the
that.
status.
Financial implications.
I'd
Liability.
say 2 commissioners by choice of the victim of the policy violation. So whoever they feel most comfortable with.
If you got a if you have a personnel committee in place,
They should be the ones to be utilized.
yeah.
And I'm saying it should be at
I'm
least.
saying we want that person to feel most comfortable with bringing it, bringing up the policy violation. And sometimes they may not feel comfortable talking to just anybody.
How about, I see both points, then how about one on the personnel committee and then the other commissioner of that individual's choice? I guess that's again dividing everybody, which I think we're trying not to do. Tim, what's your recommendations?
Well, for sure, your department head is going to be involved. You know that, that's part of the report chain. So then we add a commissioner. Add a third person, department peer. I don't know how we would phrase it off the top of my head, but just third department head. Maybe selected by those two, by the department head of the commissioner. Those two select the third member.
Well, I think we're overlooking one point here. A lot of times the complaint is against the department head.
When the way we've set this up, if that happens, then I'm going to assume the role of that department head, so that they're out of the investigation.
Yeah.
Component.
Because it's usually harassment. If this isn't just sexual, this is harassment
Any
to
form.
a lot of different forms, and it can be employer to an employee. And it can be, harassment can be one employee saying favoritism. I'm being harassed because of favoritism to the other employee from somebody in charge. That happens a lot.
Oh, yeah, it does.
So that takes the department head right out of the investigation end of it.
Because they're the one being investigated.
Yeah.
Well, I still think, obviously, I think Tim should still be involved in it, and I do think that the person that is bringing it to his attention should have some choice in who the commissioners are that.
Brad,
I've seen it.
I understand where you're coming from, but on the other hand, when you call law enforcement, you get an option as to say who you want to show up. No. You don't.
Yeah, but what if they don't call because of that?
The only reason I wouldn't
It's a
agree.
small town.
The only reason,
It
I don't
is.
care how small it is.
There's, I get it.
Out of the
I get it.
relationships. I just think more options.
I think I think the only reason I don't agree with that idea is that by eliminating commissioners from the investigative team because the department heads, we're allowing them not to pick us, and you want somebody to pick us. And I don't think that the picking or not picking should be the question. There's a committee in place and there's an administrator in place. And then that's it. That they do the investigation, cut and dry, not somebody that gets selected or not selected.
I don't think they should have the opportunity to pick and choose.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Commissioner Bond?
Am I correct in stating that department heads still have the choice on this
As far as
What do you mean?
as far as if they don't want to go along with this?
Well, yeah.
policy, you mean
They're elected officials
Well, the elected officials,
are the only ones that can opt out, correct?
like I said, if they can opt out.
And we strongly encourage them all to opt in, and frankly, I don't think this is something they want to, this is pretty serious.
Right, I understand that. I mean, again, I would say, you know, again, at least one of the commissioners that's on that committee, yourself and the department head. Now, if the department head is the one that the complaint's against, then we're gonna have to either go to maybe another department head.
What if the complaint is against the department head and a commissioner?
Then they're disqualified.
That's the board.
Well,
Right.
that's
you would have to disqualify them, yeah.
and disqualify them, and you have,
That's all I'm saying.
and then you have the other commissioner.
Well,
I think then if we're gonna do that with the commissioners, then I think we also need to really look at these when we're forming these new committees come January. You know, we'll make sure we do switch things up and we look at them maybe on an annual basis. I know we kind of stay where we're put, but these types of committees, maybe we need to look at.
Annually.
I know, but again, we were just comfortable and I think we all just maintained the boards and the committees that we were on. So maybe just moving forward, we keep in mind that we do change this specific committee every 6 months or annually or whatever you guys are.
How are other
Well-
counties and the state handling this type of thing?
Very similar to the original language. It did not specify in a number of the policies I've looked at who would be on a review committee. In fact, some of them don't even have a committee. There's just an investigation that's occurred and a decision is made, and that's the end of it. This at least allows everybody the quote unquote due process. So the investigation is then independently brought to a committee like this with 3 other independent minds. The case is made, and then the group decides, do we have a harassment situation or no? And then what happens? In the disciplinary action, anywhere from a verbal reprimand all the way to termination, depending on the seriousness of it.
You can,
Do we do,
so think out of
we
the,
have someone totally outside of the county?
well, that's what I mean, that's if you're gonna think out of the box, is we just totally have an independent third-party
Individual.
group. If it's another county comes over and we help them by sending our people over there,
I'd suggest in that case.
that's pretty
that
tough.
Go to the county
one of
attorney.
our attorneys come up and do,
Mhm.
and they can wrap up something like that in a day or over the phone even, in most cases, when necessarily
And
physically.
then you don't have to worry about the small town thing.
Yeah, I think that's the best case scenario right there. No conflict of interest.
Tim and somebody, and then 2 people or the firm outside the county.
And a commissioner. I think one commissioner needs to be in there. I won't turn away from that. I think that's the only way we're gonna be informed of things.
I think with Tim there, that gives us the line of information coming in.
I think a commissioner should serve on there one.
But if we're gonna go outside, the only connection is Tim on the inside.
I'm more comfortable. Why? Is that your opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Serbrook?
Leave the language as it is. Policy personnel.
The language said a commissioner, correct?
And the language says it shall include members of the Board of Commissioners, Personnel and Policy Committee.
Yeah, I agree.
Leave it as is.
Commissioner Newbecker?
I would feel more comfortable just having our legal team handle it. That way we don't do anything wrong during this investigation. We're not lawyers. We're certainly not,
So you just,
resources people, so.
you just talked about being comfortable. So I mean, is that gonna make an individual feel comfortable coming forward? I mean, if I'm gonna come into a room with my complaint and there's gonna be lawyers across the table or wherever, I wanna bring my legal team with me. I mean, we see how lawyers are very much different.
Let's clarify the process. If I have to file a complaint, I'm going to my department head, unless the department head is the person that I'm complaining, then I have an alternate in here, probably comes to me in that case, or commissioner. But that's where the complaint goes. The complainant does not see the attorney. The attorney then does the independent investigation and reports back with recommendations on what to do. So the people aren't, this isn't like a
Okay,
hearing where they're set
I'm
up.
misunderstanding then.
Mhm.
Commissioner Vaughn?
I'm kind of in agreement with Tim, how it's handled. So go with our help.
So would that change? That's not gonna change what's currently written, correct? I'm so confused.
Tim, can I ask a question? If we do refer that to county council, is that or is that not covered under our retainer?
I would have to confirm.
I would
Was or
think
not.
probably not, but I think that should be. We should have the answer to that question, because if we're gonna rely on Cole Stoker and Taskey to do the investigation, and it's not within the retainer, now we could be looking at some substantial cost. And I would hope that if it got to the level where we had to take and sit down and make a serious decision, whomever's sitting on that group that's doing the investigation, once they came to a conclusion, before any punishment, shall I say, or a decision was made for or against, whether it's to discipline or not discipline, would just run by the county attorney what I say we collectively, what that group had found, say, this is the allegation, the investigation results are this. We would like your opinion as to how we should proceed. We think we should go this route, but get their thoughts on it.
I think we're definitely gonna do that.
You know, well, I said, I would hope that would be the process if we kept it the way that it is. Without specifically saying it was gonna be the county attorney firm that was gonna do the investigation, if it was you understand what I'm saying, Jenny?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so
I was just gonna say, keep it in.
do you need a break?
No.
Okay, I say keep verbiage as is, so. Yes,
Keep it the way it is.
we have 3 yeses.
Yeah.
Keep the verbiage as is. Okay, on to item E, opiate settlement update, PA software and Sting.
Okay, this is a ongoing agenda item that we want at least once a month on the committee of the whole meeting. I did send you an email this morning with the latest report from the attorneys. Without getting into the details of the confidential document, but what we did learn is that distributions could start as early as August. I would anticipate if that happens, we'll get our rules from Department of Treasury between now and then to tell us what funding can be used for. So that's where we are right now. No definite answer, but probably sometime in the next 30 days, we'll be able to get a very clear picture of what we can do.
Perfect. You'll keep that on for next committee of the whole as well, so we keep getting updates.
We
Pretty
can,
good.
I was doing it monthly, so I would skip one and then do the next one.
Okay,
But if there's news, we'll bring it out.
We're only gonna have one committee of the whole in August anyway.
yep.
Oh,
Hi, Banks.
We did the investigation of the High Banks properties. We were looking for any deed restrictions that might be on there for a fleeting moment, it looked like this was actually the property of the road commission, and then we could just jettison the whole thing, but the road commission deeded all that over to the county, so. It was not the case. So there were no other restrictions on there. In fact, the deeds themselves were very basic, just giving us the meets and bounds descriptions of the properties, and that's it. So there's nothing in any of the deeds that say you have to use it for this purpose or that you cannot sell it or anything else. So it's a board decision, whatever you might want to do.
We talked about this at Mills Township. You weren't there, Lance, and they said Commissioner Reitz had a lot to do and would have had a lot of information on this. Oh shoot, the road commission was there too. And they told me some forest, is it pine forest?
Huron.
Huron Forest.
Huron Forest, Huron
Uh,
Pines.
Was involved in all of this. That is it. Huron Forest.
Weren't they
And
the ones that fixed it up last time.
so I kind of misplaced that in the back of my head. Yeah, if we can reach out to them, I guess. Has anybody been out there? Did Labram's go out there? Did our insurance company go out there?
Insurance company did not go out there. I'm pretty confident of that. I don't know. I haven't gone out.
There's a sign there that needs replaced. I looked at it last weekend. It's in really dire need. And they
Just
brought
put a
that-
For sale sign right
They
on
brought
front.
that. Are you gonna let me finish?
No.
Please. It's a very nice sign. It needs to be replaced. It's in pretty bad shape. You really should take a trip out there, Tim. It's about 15-20 minutes from here. It's actually really pretty. And take a look at the property and give us your thoughts.
Sure.
It was discussed at the last Mills Township meeting. And I let them know we were looking into it and we were coming up with a maintenance plan.
Yeah.
I brought it up to the Parks and Rec Committee and we don't want anything to do with it. We got enough on.
Got
our
enough
plate.
on your plate.
We got enough on our plate. And
But
we
if-
got two parks that are generating money that are paying for their expenses.
Mhm.
And this won't pay for the expenses.
Can you find out when the county obtained these properties?
It's
Is it-
actually on the spreadsheet that we handed out a few meetings ago about the dates and the purchase prices. I'm not sure these had purchase prices or were just deeded over. I'd have to look at it again.
Can you
I
record
don't
that
think
to me?
it didn't have any prices, but it's on the iPad. It's on the iPads.
Mine's broke half the time.
Well, if you would get mad at.
Oh, was it?
Going across the room, operator error.
And I was making fun of the undersheriff over there.
It's,
I kind of brought that up and they didn't really seem, but I think we need more information before decisions are made, but it was kind of thrown out there.
it's on the June 2nd Committee of the Whole.
I'll write that down.
So I gave you the date.
Thank you.
Figured that you would.
Okay. I think we need more information, but we definitely need, that sign's bad, really, really, really bad. So you'll make a trip out there when you're feeling a little better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if I'm not
You got a
feeling.
lot of stairs to go down and come back up.
Good. Cardiovascular workout.
Can we put that on for the next committee of the whole? Okay, quarterly budget adjustments. Are you part of that discussion? Would you like to come up, sir? I thought you were sleeping back there.
Unfortunately, I was absent from work here the last 3 days and didn't get the complete quarterly budget adjustment done, but I do have loaded on the iPad.
There.
Quarterly budget adjustment for the child care fund, and this is somewhat time sensitive because Michael has to send materials or reports to the state. And this will impact our ability to get the state funding in. I can really sum this up in two lines that I'd like you to look at, and then Judge Williams can get into any details. But the first one, if you look at the very top, that first table, and you see the line that says probate appropriation from county, and this adjustment would reduce that appropriation by $86,496, which are obviously good news for the general fund. And then going down to the bottom, the very last item with the total expenditures, you're looking at about a $36,000 reduction in total expenditures for the entire program. So that's the short version of this, why it's here. I mean, normally, if there were no wages or benefits included in the adjustments, this would just be submitted, but we have a rule in our appropriation resolution. Anytime that there's an adjustment to any personnel item, it has to come to the board and be approved. So what I would suggest is that we prepare a resolution to do this quarterly adjustment for the child care fund standalone. We'll actually attach this table to the resolution. That will get Michael what he needs as far as approvals to the state and get this underway. And then at your next committee of the whole, we'll have the full quarterly budget adjustment for the entire county ready to look at.
Basically, the reason for the reduction is we're taking expenses that were non-reimbursable, shifting them into that counseling budget over there, and that's 50% reimbursable. So we're taking unreimbursable expenses, shifting them to reimbursable. That's why your share $86,000 less overall for that.
Budget reduction is always a good thing.
Yeah, Michael said he had some unexpected with the personnel stuff. Unknown retirement costs and insurance costs, it weren't exactly as he had predicted. So that's what those are. That's why the overall figure, instead of being 86, is only ended up being 36 with all the other little changes we did too. But,
And that's gonna happen.
yeah.
How's that going? Can you give us a little update? How's that going over
It's
there?
going great. Michael's calling the paper to go over and take the pictures. We got the sign up. We got all the little bugs fixed that were nagging bugs and paint touch-ups, and it's going great. Right now, the school's not in session, but they're having the counseling appointments and stuff. Holdover. We haven't had to use the holdover probably 3-4 times so far, which is good. But it's just doing great. They had the court school there basically every day while school was going. The kids that are suspended go over there and they do their work on the computers and sit with their supervisors there the RDSS workers. It's going great. They did a great job with it. One of these days we'll take a tour or something when everybody has time.
I'd like to.
But everything's going good. We had a few bugs with plumbing fixtures, light fixture. I think we got everything taken care of though. So Jack Morris has been great to addressing every need we have. So he's done a great job there.
It's gonna be interesting to see once that's been a year, fully functioning for a year, as far as how much money that's.
Right, we've already obviously reduced the institutional care. Obviously, our counseling item is up, but again, that's 50% chargeback, so that's good.
Right.
And it's keeping kids, every kid's gonna be different. Some kids, you're gonna have to send, okay? There's a few right now, I wish I could do something else, but you just can't. And hopefully that cycles on the down for a few years so we can get this up and running fully. I think they've got, I can't remember the caseload or see how many kids they're seeing. We're kind of being careful until we know where our money is, because we don't want to overspend and say, sorry, we don't have enough money to pay the counselors, the contract we have. But as far as I know, everything is going great.
Good.
At least that's what they're telling me. So.
Hey,
It's good. So, any questions?
we have to put up this on for resolution, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't
Michael
know.
would have been here, but he's at a conference in Midland, so I get nominated, so.
Any questions for the judge? Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Last, anything else, Tim?
No.
Last, we have public comment. This is for any subject matter. Same rules apply. Anybody in the room? Anybody on the phone?
Hi,
Hi.
Julie Darton, District 4 Director, MSU Extension. I was really excited to listen into the meeting tonight. And nice to know that we are a topic of conversation, even when we're not on the agenda officially. But just wanted to mention, we're definitely doing what we need to do to gear up for fair, working with the fair board and getting our youth activities squared away. But did want to clarify that services were offered in 2020. They didn't look like they had before, but the assertion was made that we didn't provide services during the pandemic. pandemic, and we definitely did. We had our staff working remotely during that entire period. So I just wanted to raise that. I'm not upset about it. I know that it's a determination that the county made to reduce the collection for the millage, and you're certainly within your rights to do that. But I didn't want to let it go unclarified at this moment that we did absolutely provide services, although they did not look identical to the year before. So thank you so much.
That's fair. Thank
Well, I
you.
think, Julie, that's exactly what it was. We asked you why the fund balance was higher, and you said the services weren't at the same level pre-COVID. Kids were not coming together in groups doing camps and things like that, and seniors and all those other things. It's just what COVID did to the whole country. It's not your fault. You know, it's just COVID did that. It separated everybody. You know, same with veterans. They didn't do a lot of the things together either. You know, COVID. You know, and it was government higher than us that said that we couldn't talk to each other, or touch each other, or breathe on each other, or whatever.
Thank you.
Thank you. Respectfully, I won't engage in a back and forth. I just thought it was worth bringing up. And since I was listening to the meeting, I thought I would clarify that. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your comment. Can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Oh, you have anybody else? Yeah,
Was there any other public comment?
Going once. Motion to adjourn.
Is it okay,
Support.
Commissioner Becker?
I was thinking.
Yeah, motion. It's 7:21.
Okay.
Where do I sign this? Don't touch.
Who supported that?
I did.
Okay.
So.
My name's not on this.
Just so you guys know. High bank